Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North Talk here. Q, Tony, myself, Sonny, and you know Ace is in the game, but Ace said everything, so you're gonna see Ace predictions. So don't worry about it. We have you covered. Before we get started, make sure you smash that like. Also, appreciate it by everybody that not only watches live, the super chat, but also the people that are watching the replay. We appreciate that a lot. We were talking behind stage. We are almost doubling our subscribers. So you make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this video, you like the content, make sure smash that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us, hit that bell so you know when we come live and you can be part of this live. This one's going to be a good one. Go ahead.
Sonny, why am I at the bottom?
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
That's some respect.
Not used to it down here. I don't like it.
Well,
basement.
It's temporary. We'll see. Positive vibes only today, boys. I was very upset on Tuesday. I think rightfully so, but I'm back today. I'm back. Positive vibes only. Let's do this thing. Let's get the show on the road.
Well, hopefully Ace kept it cool down there while he was down there for the last 3 years.
Don't act like you didn't make a home down here for the last 15 years.
Not while we was doing this show, baby.
Well,
I wasn't on YouTube when they was sorry. Can't get me on that. Wasn't making videos when they was sorry. All right. They was third place when I started doing this. You know what I mean?
There you go. Okay. So we're gonna Ace in the video. We're gonna go with the order Ace went through. And then go from there. And we'll see. So we're going to get this thing started. By the way, remember, super chats are available. The only person that cannot answer the super chat is Ace. But don't worry. We'll answer for him. Let's get this thing rolling.
Hey, what's up, AFC North Talk family? It's your boy, Ace Boogie. I couldn't be there for today's show live because I am currently in Cincinnati attending Thursday Night Football. But appreciate the fellas of AFC North Talk holding it down while I'm out. But I'm here to give you guys my predictions for the North this week. I actually think that this is a week that some of the teams in the North, potentially majority of them, could be coming out of this week with L's. They've got some tough matchups. And so we'll start with the Ravens here first. On the road in Denver, mile-high conditions. I think the Ravens are going to drop this one. And I think it really comes down to the fact that they are playing that game on the road. They are pretty stretched thin. They're stretched pretty thin right now. Obviously, you take a look at what happened last week against the Detroit Lions, and I think that they were able and lucky enough to escape that game with a victory. But when you look at the Broncos, they've always really been a solid team. They've just had to solidify the quarterback position, and I think that they've done that with Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I'm not saying that Teddy Bridgewater is elite or anything like that, but I think that he is an upgrade over Drew Lock, a slight upgrade over him. And they've got some weapons over there. They are dealing with some injuries at the receiver position, but they still have Cortland Sutton. They still have Noah Fant. They still have Melvin Gordon, as well as, I believe, Javon Williams at the running back position. And so I think that is a tall order for Baltimore, especially with them dealing with so many injuries, being so inconsistent. And I think that this is a Broncos defense that is extremely talented and is kind of playing under the radar. But Von Miller did just win the AFC Player of the Month. So he is back on top of his game. And we have seen the Ravens struggle, I think, in week one with some of those protection issues. They kind of have shored that up in the last two games. But I think that this is going to be a true test against Von Miller in this defense. They also have Justin Simmons. They have some good corners out there as well, Pat Surtain Jr. So they match up well, I think, against this Ravens team. Now, they do have some weaknesses potentially on their offensive line, but I think that Denver is actually going to pull this one out. Baltimore is going to have to get back to running the ball, as they didn't run it much in the last game, right? I think that this is a game that they have to do that because I think passing will play into the Denver Broncos' hands for this week. So with that said, and I think even when you look at the predictions from 538, the ELO forecast, it is currently also favoring them in this game. So I think that the Ravens are going to drop one this week from the way that I see things. So let's move into the next game.
Okay, let me stop Ace there. We're gonna keep getting his take. He predicted Broncos there. Let me super chat here. Shout out to Colt. Bengals 3-1, and the Steelers 1-3 after this week. This is the content you like to see, but Browns still the best. Shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. Okay, let me talk about this Ravens game real quick here. It's definitely a tough game. It's nothing easy about going to Denver. Denver's a good team. Their opponents have been, a little suspect, I would say.
a little.
Just a little. But, they're
playing the 2022 draft. They played the 2022 draft in order this
right.
season.
They played the Jets. They played the Jaguars. And who was the other one?
The Giants.
The Giants, right.
Yeah.
So they're passing. No, but I will
not
say
exactly
this.
The who's who.
No, but their passing defense, I think, is legit. I do think their passing defense is legit. The running defense on the other side, I think, is suspect. They're missing their best middle linebacker, Jewel. So I think the Ravens will have opportunities there to run the ball. Also, on the passing side, I think because if the Ravens start running the ball well, that will bring Simmons and Jackson, the safeties, down a little bit. And there's potential also on the passing game to have some room to have some plays. I think this is a game that Lamar should be floating around 20 attempts, and it should be a game that we pound the ball heavy, pounding the ball, similar to what we did against the Chiefs. I think the game plan should be that similar. Not how we play against the Lions. The Lions definitely have a different game plan. This is more the Chiefs type of game. On the defensive side, Baltimore has some good news for the first time in a while on the injury front. Everybody that was COVID minus Ferguson is active. So Brandon Williams, Marabuke, you have Justin Houston. Denver is missing their left guard. So that's good in the case of Calais Campbell. It's going to be against the center. I forgot from what school he came. I like him coming out of college. He was the one that played in the Senior Bowl really well from a small school. So he's going to be playing left guard. And then their center
is Quinn Miners. You're talking
Miners. Thank you. Oop, oop, oop. That's me. Sorry, that's me.
We're taking callers on the air tonight?
No, that's my sister calling me. Sorry.
Gotcha.
And then their center, the kid from LSU, the center, he's not the greatest either. So I'm expecting the middle of the D line to come in and play well. Then the other factor they have for the Baltimore secondary, they have the two good, big, tall receivers, Tim Patrick and Sutton. Good receivers. I like them both a lot. But missing Hamler, which is their speeder, stretch the field. And they're also missing my favorite receiver from that draft class, Judy. So missing those two receivers, obviously that helps the Ravens. They still have Noah Fant. And I said this, look, the Ravens have done fairly well covering the tight ends. Now, numbers won't show that. We play Waller, great tight end, right? Now, they threw it, I think, was 21 times against
19.
us.
19,
okay. And he completed 10. So, they defended him, in my opinion, well enough. And then against Kelsey was contained fairly well until Joker left that game. And then the safety the middle linebacker got napping, Harrison. And then the safety was supposed to be there and then bad angle, and he just took it completely, right? So the numbers look like he had a great game, but he had one, I think it was 70-yard just run after the catch. But other than that, other than that, he was contained fairly well. And T.J. not Hawkinson.
T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson, sorry. Yeah, he was basically a non-factor. So the Ravens have been playing three really good tight ends so far. And no offense, no exception. I'm not here trying to say no offense, not good. No offense, a really good tight end. But I think the Ravens can contain him. The big thing with the Ravens is, can you effing make a tackle, right? They have been very bad tackling. Very bad. Not only Patrick Queen, but also the safety Deshaun Jackson has not been great tackling. The rookie also has not been great tackling Stevens. So can they come back in short tackling? Jimmy Smith is also playing, so that always helps. So I'm picking the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens in a close game, 2017. On a Justin Tucker 70 yards. No, not 70 yards, but on a Justin Tucker field goal winning the game. Q, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, this is an interesting game, right? Because you go into this with Baltimore, not knowing what to think of them after that weird game they played against the Lions. They were up really high last week when they beat the Chiefs. Almost, they got bailed out of a game versus a Lions team that did not, quite frankly, play well there, right? So it's hard to get a grasp on Baltimore right now with all those injuries, with all the questions that we had about them before the injuries coming into this season, and it's hard to understand who they are. But another team that's harder to get a grasp on is the Denver Broncos, who, defensively, I believe that they're good, right? Because they're the Denver Broncos. They've been a good defense for quite a while here. No reason to believe any of that is fake. Offensively, though, I don't know, man. I don't know about this. Teddy Bridgewater out there starting for him? I have to believe he's going to have a come down back to earth game. He's like, number 1 in QBR right now? He's like
number 1 in QBR, number 1 in EPA per play, number 1 in completion percentage over expectations.
Yeah, right now it's saying Teddy Bridgewater is the best quarterback in football. That has to end soon, right? That's going to come back down to earth, and that's going to come back down to earth violently. So that's why I'm picking the Ravens. I think this is going to be a game where that offense comes back down to earth, right? None of the wide receivers there. I know they got Jerry Jeudy. But
he's not playing.
He's not playing. Yeah. Judy's not playing.
Yeah, no Judy.
Yeah, they got Cortland Sutton. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in any of these dudes. I know that
Cortland Sutton, your new Allen Robinson now. Is that what's going to happen?
Cortland Sutton's good. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. At least great. We're on the same page.
It's not an Allen Robinson thing. Allen Robinson's pretty good, but y'all think he the best, and that's just I don't agree with that. But we're not gonna get on Allen Robinson, by the way. Putting up the same amount of yards that like Donovan Peoples-Jones has with 4 targets, by the way, in a whole season for an elite wide receiver. Shout out Allen Robinson. Hope he does well for this season. But yeah, there's I don't think the Ravens are going to have a problem covering Denver here. I think they're going to get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. And when you get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater does some wild stuff with the football sometimes. He will do anything with it. He'll throw interceptions. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Offensively for the Ravens here, yes, the Denver is a good defense, but you do have Lamar Jackson. So, I still think you're going to be able to put up the 20 points you're going to need to in this game. I think this is going to be a comfortable win for Baltimore here. I know that Denver's 3-0. I know that they're a good team. I'm not saying that Denver stinks if there's Denver fans in here, but I do think Baltimore's just a flat better team in every single way, even injured. So, yeah, I think Baltimore's going to win this game. I would say I would be shocked if this were closer than 10 points between these two.
Wow.
If this becomes a close game.
In Denver.
I think they're going to I think they're going to have a little well, it's in Denver. So, you got Max kicking potential with Justin Tucker. He just made 66 in a dome next to a lake. He going to be making 88-yarders. He might just fair catch it, kick it. Boom, 3 points right there. You do that enough, you might be able to get it. But yeah, Justin Tucker definitely starting him on my fantasy team this year. He's the only kicker I respect in the NFL. Shout out to the kicker fans in chat. But yeah, I just don't see a reason why Baltimore won't win this game. I don't think Denver's good enough to beat a good team like Baltimore with legitimate star players. I mean, we talked about the teams they beat. It's Zach Wilson and the interception machine out there. It's Trevor Lawrence, an interception machine. It's Daniel Jones, who's not an interception machine, but also a turnover machine. He would just be cooking up them fumbles. He like to give you a different flavor of those turnovers over there. So yes, the numbers are impressive for Denver, but keep in mind that they're playing against very turnover prone people, offenses in this run here. So yeah, I think Baltimore's going to give them a bit of a reality check this week and kind of control this game the whole way through.
Tony?
That's what I find so interesting about this game, right? Is like Denver has been ruthlessly efficient these first 3 games. I mean, the numbers that they are putting up, first of all, Teddy Bridgewater, right? I mean, the numbers he's putting up are spectacular. But what they're doing defensively, I think, is even more spectacular when you consider the fact that you look at these box scores. If you just go box score watching with Denver, you're like, okay, yeah, defensively they're pretty good. 13 points against New York, 13 points against Jacksonville, and they shut out the Jets, which is really impressive. But you look a little deeper. New York scored a last-second touchdown that game. Literally, no time on the clock. They scored their final touchdown that game. That was a 27-7 game that the Giants scored, by the way. And then Jacksonville ran a kickoff back for a touchdown with no time remaining at the end of that game. That was also a 23-7 game. The Broncos have given up in real time, right? When the win probability is within distance, given up 14 points this year. And I understand that, yes, these are three very bad offenses. And I
think those three teams don't have a win, right? Neither of them?
None of them have a win, no. And none of them have a good offense. But holding three teams in the National Football League, I don't care what three teams they are. This is the NFL. You hold three teams to just 14 points in 3 weeks. That's pretty impressive. And it really starts with and Baltimore's fans are going to be mad at me, but look, Peters is out. Peters isn't coming back. Denver's got the best secondary in the league right now. They are loaded. Justin Simmons is maybe the most underrated safety in the league right now. And then they have he's fantastic. And then they got Patrick Surtain, who I watched a lot of because I thought there was an outside chance he could fall to Pittsburgh in last year's draft. And boy, I mean, that was a guy who you just thought this guy's going to translate immediately to the National Football League, and he has. They also have Bryce Callahan in the slot, who's been terrific for them. I mean, they're very Kareem Jackson as their strong safety. Mm-hmm. They're very, very good defensively. Now, it's one thing to have a very good pass defense in the National Football League. It's another thing to do this against Baltimore. Right? We talk about these great defenses. One thing to have a great defense in the National Football League, but when you go up against Baltimore, they're asking different questions from everybody else, right? There aren't teams that ask questions like Baltimore asks, as far as being able to defend the edge and defend downfield, stay disciplined on those RPO plays. That's what's going to make to me this such an. I love all the games in the AFC North this week. I think each of them has their own intrigue to them, but this is my favorite matchup because that Denver defense is really, really good, and we saw Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense really open it up in the passing game last week, and they were wide open down the field. You have to imagine that's not going to be the case this week. Can they get back to running the football? Can they stay more true to themselves in that way? And how are they going to divvy up those carries? I think Tyson Williams. For all the jokes we said about him during preseason and going into week one, like he legitimately, to me, is their best running back. I think he's better than Murray and better than Devonta Freeman. That's not a huge thing because those guys are pretty much past their prime at this point. But how much do they kind of divvy up that? And how efficiently can they move the ball down the field? Because Teddy Bridgewater in this Broncos offense, I know it's not, it's not a sexy pick. They got an aging Melvin Gordon, and my favorite running back last draft was Javonte Williams. I loved his run after contact. And he is, that stuff is translating to the National Football League. They're down at the receiver spot, and this may be the difference in the game. You talk about the injuries in this game. Baltimore's got a ton, but Baltimore has one key matchup here, which is that they can travel Marlon Humphrey with Cortland Sutton if they want, and that's going to mean that Denver's going to need to find offense somewhere else. And without Jerry Jeudy, without Hamler, you're down to Tim Patrick, you're down to Deontay Spencer.
Don't forget about Noah.
Well, Noah Fant. Listen, my fantasy team would love if he lit him up in this game. But like you said, I think Baltimore has done good enough against tight ends this year that I don't expect Noah Fant to have a huge game. I think this is gonna be a close game. I do. Right now, I think Denver is favored by 1. Last time I saw it, so I think this is gonna be a close game. I will take Denver because they're at home here and because I really like what they're doing defensively. But this is gonna be a close football game.
So Denver -1 for Tony. Put it there in his betting side. Okay, let's talk about our next game.
I wouldn't actually, by the way, if the picks I'm actually going to put in, I'm actually going to gamble on this weekend. This will not be one of them. This is too close for comfort for me. I'll just stay away from me.
Okay.
By the way, we got 384 people watching live right now. We want to get those likes up, only about 136. So let's make sure that we keep hitting that like button if you're enjoying this content and you enjoy what we do here every week, twice a week. Hit that like button. That helps us get this show out to more people. So doing that would be extremely helpful. Hit the like button, y'all.
Also, if you're watching right now, I've seen the numbers. About 60% of you are not subscribed. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified every time we go live Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Sometimes we switch it up on y'all. Sometimes we might give y'all a bonus. Sometimes we don't give y'all a bonus. Sometimes you just want to make sure that you hear. You want to put your internet anchor down at AFC North Talk. Make sure you subscribe, notified, and follow the Twitter because every time we make a schedule change, it's going to be announced there.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, so let's go with the next game with the Steelers one. Let's see what Ace has to say about Tony.
I'm sure only nice things. I'm sure he only
Yeah.
has nice things. Only nice things.
You know it.
This is another game that I feel like, for the most part, this team is definitely taking the L, and that's going to be the Steelers and the Packers. You know, coming off of that game last week with the Packers or with the Steelers and the Bengals, that was a game that they couldn't afford to lose. They ended up losing that one. They've got the Packers favored in this to win by at least 7 points, by 73%. And I think that has a lot to deal with Big Ben versus Aaron Rodgers and that team that they have over there. The Packers are an elite team, even though they came out and dropped that loss week 1 that everyone was surprised about in the fashion that it was dropped. But I think that they have bounced back, and I think that they will roll over the Steelers here. And this is going to start another tough stretch of games for the Steelers. And that's one of the things when we came into the season, when I looked at this Steelers schedule, they play a lot of similar teams to this. And this was one that I had as a loss, especially looking at Aaron Rodgers, especially with it being so early. The Steelers still trying to find themselves offensively. I don't think that they find themselves in this game. It's a mismatch for Ben at this point. He cannot keep up. And so I've got the Packers winning and I've got the Steelers losing. So far I have 2 teams in the AFC North falling. And so then I'm going to get into –
Okay.
Oh, I see what Ace is doing here. Ace is he's on top of the world right now. He is imagining a world. Let me explain a world to you, fans, where the Bengals sit at 3-1 and the rest of the division is either 2-2 or 1-3.
Go ahead. What do you think about this game?
Well, I'm not surprised. And I'm not surprised to see people think that the Steelers are just going to get absolutely blown out in this football game. Obviously, you know, go back to the simple math stuff, right? If you can't even keep up with the Bengals at home, how in the world are you going out to Lambeau against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and staying within 2 touchdowns of that football team, right? I mean, this team lost 27-10 last week. It feels like this is a game where the Steelers should get absolutely clobbered. The Packers are favored by 6.5 in this game. Now, here's an interesting little factoid: 6.5. Okay, so maybe not as much as you might expect. But it did go up to 7. So, guys, people were betting the Packers and went up to 7 and went right back down to 6.5. So there are people out there who think the Steelers can keep this one close, and I am one of them. I know I was very, very down on this football team on Tuesday, and I do think long-term for this team, they have a ton of problems. But we go back. I think every Steeler fan feels the same way this week. Mike Tomlin, in these moments, we've seen this team. We've seen Mike Tomlin in these moments pull one out, right? Just for whatever reason. They just happen to play well that week. I mean, this is Mike Tomlin that led his team from 0-3 2 years ago back to 8-8, 2-6 back in 2013 to 8-8. Okay, and even when their backs are against the wall, just go back to 2018. Right, that team in 2018 lost 3 straight in a row. They went from having a commanding division lead at 7-2 to being a 7-5 football team looking on the outside looking in, and those were losses to Denver, to Oakland, and to the Chargers, not 3 of the best teams in the league. And who did they have to face that very next week? They had to face the New England Patriots, a team that had beaten them pretty much every time they had played for the last 5 years. That was a huge matchup for the Steelers, and they won that football game out of nowhere, right? I don't think any Steelers fan was expecting the Steelers to win that game. They did it behind Jalen Samuels and about 150 yards rushing from him and shutting down Tom Brady, holding him to 10 points. That was a Brady team, by the way, that would go on to win the Super Bowl 2019. I talk about that 0-3 team. Well, that was a 1-3 football team, remember, that was going up against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in week 5 that year. A Ravens team that would go on to be 14-2. Lamar Jackson would go on to be an MVP. The Steelers took that team took those Ravens to overtime. I mean, that was a Duck Hodges second half showcase where they quite nearly had a chance to win that football game. I mean, Juju fumbled very, very late. No blowout there. And then even last year, right? Think about what happened at the end of 2020. The end of last year, the Steelers were terrible. I mean, they lost 5 of their last 6. But there was that one game against Indy. There was, after losing to Buffalo and after getting embarrassed to a very bad Cincinnati team on Monday night with Ryan Finley, they then went out and beat Indianapolis in a miracle to win the division.
Tony, so is the argument that they're gonna keep it close?
The argument, yes, I do not think the Steelers are gonna get blown out. I'm not gonna predict. No, I'm not gonna. You think I'm gonna predict the Steelers to win this football game? No, I'm not gonna predict the Steelers to win this football game. But I think this is one of those games. Look, going back to these moments, right? We talk about the Steelers going from 0-3 to 8-8. Why did that happen? Well, they added Minka Fitzpatrick, right? I mean, that was a huge addition to that team late. You go back to that 2-6 football team. They ended up changing out their left tackle to Kelvin Beachum. They ended up playing Cam Hayward at the end of that season. That really turned it around. The problem I have for this Steeler team today, and where I need Steeler fans to help me out here, what is the bag that what is the trick that Mike Tomlin's pulling out of the bag this year? Right? Because look, I know TJ Watt's going to come back, Deontay Johnson's going to come back. This team is going to play better. But I don't know that this team is TJ Watt or Deontay Johnson away from turning this thing from 1-2 into what the 10-6 or 9-7 team that this team could be. But I think in this football game, again, I don't know how. That's why I think this game is so interesting to me. I'm interested to see how it happens, but I'm going to say the Steelers cover here. Give me the Steelers. Give me the points. Steelers plus 6.5. The over-under in this game is 45. I'll take the over. I think the Steelers offense shows up.
So you're betting
I
the
like
over.
how he hid. I like how he hid his Steelers are going to still lose this game prediction under all this gambling stuff. But yeah, you picked the Steelers to lose, right?
The Steelers. I have the Steelers to lose, but I'm taking. Listen, give me the points plus 6.5. I think they keep it close. No blowout here.
Gotcha. Super chat here from Cameron says Tony tripping. Packers by 7.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious.
Hey, are you picking him? Are you picking the Steelers for the Survivor one, Tony?
I am currently out of the Survivor, so unfortunately, I picked them last week, so I wouldn't be allowed to pick them again.
There you go. There you go.
Could I pick them to not get blown out in my eliminator? Because that's what I would like.
That's the bet. Okay, cute. What do you think, man?
Tony equivalent. The equivalent to what Tony just did is telling you we going to go to Corral, but they got ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know we gonna lose, but hey, you know what I mean. We gonna get some ice cream on the way home, so you might win a bet here if you take down here. But this is an interesting game here, right? Because Aaron Rodgers, he had that rough start to the year. The defense let Jameis throw 5 touchdowns, so yeah, they're not that good. And then you look at Pittsburgh, and I know everybody after they got blown out by the Bengals is ready to bury them. Ready to bury Pittsburgh, put them in the dirt. Tony was ready to on Tuesday. He put the funeral on. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I've learned this lesson way too many times.
Last year.
It's like, right, not last year, 2018, 2019. I've been thinking the Steelers were going to be dead for so many years in a row.
Me too.
That I don't feel comfortable pronouncing that they're dead, right? It's like, oh no, LeBron not gonna have another good year, right? Okay, you know, it's like right when you count them out, right when they give you every single logical reason to think that this dumb team and this quarterback is dead, they come out here and do something that's inexplainable. Like just having the best second half of the season against Indy after sucking for the last 6 quarters of football. Like this is just, or like getting embarrassed by Cleveland in their home stadium in front of 50 million people on Nielsen. And yes, if you're asking, does Quincy do this literally every show?
Literally every show.
Literally, yes. I do this every single show. 50 million people watch the Steelers get beat down in Heinz Field. And what did they do to start the season? They beat the Bills. Like it's impossible to get a grasp on this team. Last week, I think one of the things we did not talk enough about was Highsmith didn't play and TJ Watt did not play. That is a huge part. I know that they got other good players. Tuitt didn't play.
Highsmith may not play this week, though. Highsmith is still limited, may not play.
Is Tuitt going to play?
Tuitt's on IR. Tuitt's not coming back.
Tuitt's on IR. All right, but you still got TJ Watt.
How about Hayward?
Yeah. But, you know, you got Hayward and you got TJ Watt back. Well, Hayward was there last week, but you got TJ Watt back. I think that does make a little bit of a difference here. If you can get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, especially, you know, not saying that he's old and done, but at the beginning of the season, that's when he's more vulnerable, right? He tends to turn it up at the end of the season. You can do something here. And I don't know. This is not a logical pick for me, but I just get the weird feeling that after we dumped on Pittsburgh for this entire week, they're going to come out here and beat the Packers. They're going to beat the Packers this week. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what's going to happen to make this happen, right? This is not me looking at the film and coming up with a real reason why the Steelers can beat No, this is me with a sixth sense of just listening to it after 3 years of not listening to it. Steelers are going to come out here and they're going to beat the freaking Packers. And Tony, He's going to bring
Right.
back the props. He's
I'm
going to
right
feel
there with
better.
And
Yeah,
but no,
because
exactly
it's
what you're
just-
saying though is what makes this game so interesting, which is that I think as a Steeler fan, I'm right with you, right? I think the Steelers have every chance to win this game, so I think they're going to keep it close. Again, I couldn't tell if you asked me to bullet point out, like, all right, give me like 5 reasons why. I couldn't. I mean, TJ Watt's back, great, okay,
TJ
but like
Watt's
Aaron
back,
Rodgers doesn't
and
turn the
then
ball over, so you know
their defense is not that great. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally only 2 reasons I could think of here, right?
is
Like,
Ben
but
going to like turn back the clock 5 years? Like, we think Ben's going to start throwing the intermediate ball, is going to hit Claypool down the field. Like, what's going to happen in this game that we haven't seen? Because something's going to have to happen that we haven't seen this far.
Or Najee's just going to rush for like 300 or something.
The
like
offensive
that.
line
Like,
just magically turns it on.
No,
Hey,
I just
Chooks
think
is hurt.
Najee just
Chooks
is
is
the
hurt.
game.
That
You know
might
what I mean?
be. You know what? Maybe Chooks being out makes the rest of the line better.
Yeah, I mean, at this point with that offensive line, I'm not even trying to be funny here. The solution could be somebody getting hurt. Like the offensive line is so bad right now for Pittsburgh that the solution could be anything. Like it could literally,
But this
one part of the solution could be anything.
Yeah.
Like
the
you have
problem for
no
me-
idea.
The problem for me with the offensive line, though, is it's not one guy, right? I mean, if I could sit here and say like Okorafor is the problem, if you could get a better right tackle, you could fix the offensive line.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. But
But-
Kendrick Green hasn't been good at times. Dotson's been bad at times. Dan Moore's a roller coaster ride.
But I'll say this though, like, wait, who expected that Ronnie Stanley going on IR would be what would stabilize the Ravens' offensive line? You know what I mean? Like when your offensive line just kind of or Villan Davis or an elite left tackle, or you about to say here?
Yeah.
Playing the Chiefs and the Lions might make some teams look good on the offensive line.
Raiders have been really good in the pass rush.
The Raiders are really good. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So they
confirm.
So
well, even what I'm saying is
Do
we
the
saw
Browns
how
play the
bad
Raiders
some of the
this
right.
year? Do the Browns play the
Yeah, I'm
Raiders
pretty
this year?
sure we played.
Okay.
the
yeah,
Raiders.
everybody
West,
plays.
right?
Everybody
plays
plays
the West, right?
right?
Okay. All right. You'll find out.
But, we'll find out, right? If Max Crosby, he might, because they were letting the Bears get to him. So, we'll see with all that. But I don't know. I can't explain it. This is not a great take by me. This is not a fundamentally good take that I have here. By the way, let's put that boy on timeout out here spamming the chat with the Eagles. I don't even know why he's here this week.
He's in the wrong. This is AFC North talk. If you need NFC least talk, it's a different show.
I don't. Yeah, we don't talk about any of them sorry teams over there at the NFC East. Ain't nobody doing nothing. Maybe the Cowboys. But it's.
Don't forget Tyler Haney.
So let me say this, Q, to add to you. Before
Shut your
that,
mouth. No, don't you bring that poison into this show, Ricky Bobby.
Okay, so let me super chat here.
All right, we got another one. We got to go to timeout. I mean, chat is just on fire tonight, guys. If you spam, you are going into timeout. If you spam twice, you are getting blocked from chat. That is it. That is the rule.
Yep. So Michael Johnson, thank you for your donation. If Tucker bails out Lamar and the Ravens again for the 100th time this week, they better give him half that QB deal. You know what?
I like it. They tell Lamar, listen, we can only go to 35 because we got to pay Tucker
15. Okay, so let me say this for the Steelers Packers game. Pre-game,
kicker, man.
or not pre-game, before we started in live, I told Tony, this is the week that your offense could look good because the Packers defense is bad. And they're missing Zadarius Smith, right? So they're missing arguably their best pass rusher. So that pass rushing right now for the Packers is not great. They're missing the best pass rusher. So I know they're missing Chooks, but this may be the week that the O-line gets a little bit better. Now, a guy that I think the Steelers should involve more. It's a guy that I love pre-draft, and I told Tony, look, I love this guy. And then obviously he went to the Steelers, and then I stopped my love for him. That's Fairmont, right? That's how you pronounce it. Fairmont. Okay.
I did not like pre-draft.
I think he should be involved more in the play game because he could be in the middle, mid completions for Big Ben. He can be that with Juju, right? And take some of the pressure out, especially if they're pass rushing the Steelers team. They need to go back to more quick slant, but not only the normal crossing route with the same receiver that as soon as they see Juju taking 2 steps in that direction, like, oh, I know where they're running. I know where it's going. Change it up a little bit. But I think Farmouth can be that guy also. Look, the running game has not got on track. But the Packers team, I don't think they're that great on the defensive side. Well, they're not great on the defensive side, but on the running defensive side, right? So I think there's points and there's yards to be gained here from the Steelers. Offense. Now, Tony will tell you we're watching the next Steelers QB playing us next week or this week. I don't know. It might be
your words,
right.
not mine. Your words, but I agree. I mean, I'll say this: like, I like where you're going. I haven't said that, but I like where you're going with this.
But this right now, this is a Aaron Rodgers that also not having the hottest start to the year, right? But the question again goes back to: can the Steelers contain Adams? Can the Steelers look? Aaron Jones played great, not necessarily on the rushing side, but on the passing, just short passes converted. Is Bush playing this week?
He is playing this week. Yep.
Okay, so I think Bush is a very key on this defensive side this week because he should be tasked. Make sure Aaron Jones doesn't go off on us, right? That should be his task. And then I think the Steelers defense is adequate. You know, they have all the people in place to play against this Packers team. I think actually I'm going to agree here with Tony. I don't think they win, but they make it a game. I think the Packers win by like 7, by a touchdown.
No. That would be covering. No. Under a touchdown. Under a touchdown. 6.5, Sonny. 6.5. Eyes on the prize here. Eyes on the prize. 6.5.
Go all in or all out, man.
No. I think the Packers will cover. I just think it's close. Somebody said by 17. I don't think it's that so far. Rex Fortune here says Bate, Awuzie, and Higgins are out tonight. Bengals.
Bungles.
I know.
They still got one of the best secondaries in football, man. They're going to be all right.
They'll be fine.
Okay, so before we go to A-Steak.
Jesse Bates is simultaneously the best safety in the game, but also they'll be perfectly fine without him. It's one of those. It's Bengals fans.
Next man up, man. Next man up. This is what the Ravens do, right? We always pump out, next man up. But real quick, I know the solution to all of Pittsburgh's answers. Kevin Rader. Get him off the practice squad. Put him on the offensive line. He's on the practice squad. I just checked the website. He's on the practice squad. Elevate him from the practice squad before somebody else gets their hands on that gem and put him on the offensive line every play and run that thing behind him with Najee Harris because you know what, Kevin Rader, best Youngstown State Penguin not the best Youngstown State Penguin of all time. Hey, best tight end I've ever heard of out of my alma mater, YSU, even though he wasn't that great of a
This is a good point, actually. I was saying, like, what rabbit can Tomlin pull out of the hat this time, like he did, when he got Minka? Well, I do think there's a tight end problem in Pittsburgh. When we talk about get the ball to Freiermuth is still about 50-50 right now. So I think he's getting a little more snaps than Ebron. But like Ebron has been, and we haven't talked enough about him because there's been so many problems with this team. Ebron has been outright terrible, right? We talk about, the up and down Ebron. Oh, we are in down year Ebron, everybody. We are in we might be in the worst year of Eric Ebron's career to where I could legitimately make a case right now that yes, Kevin Rader should play, Jack Gentry should play above him. Freiermuth absolutely should be playing above Eric Ebron. Yes, and that may be a key. Get that in 12 personnel. Then you can start to maybe that is a key to getting the running game going. Throw out of that a little bit. God forbid Ben Roethlisberger actually threw the ball from under center. If you see that the Steelers go under center now, which is cute, except that Ben doesn't like to throw from under center, so all they do is either run play action or just run the ball, and everybody knows what's coming. It's fun.
Yeah, man. I just want to see my guy shine. I want to see my guy Kevin Rader, Youngstown State alum, made one of the greatest catches in Youngstown State history versus Eastern Washington. I know all of 12 people watched that on ESPN U3 with me, but you know what? It was one of my favorite moments while I was there. Happened my senior year. Yeah, it was great. It was on national TV. Shout out Tevin McCaster. He's a local coach out there in the Pittsburgh area. He had like 4 touchdowns that day. Good dude. I know his family. But yeah, Kevin Rader, get him in the game. Get the Penguins in.
So here, Tyler Chiz says, shout out to my boys.
Owusu.
With
J-O-K. You call him the Joker, Sonny. You call him the Joker. Call him the Joker.
J-O-K. But
Joker.
JOK.
Joker?
With number 1 PFF linebacker.
Who is the best Joker in the division right now?
The guy who's the number 1 linebacker. I don't think Dukeshawn Elliott's number 1 in any safety rankings right now in PF according to PFF.
I don't
right
listen.
now.
If there are 2 rankings on PFF that I don't trust, it's safety and linebacker.
Yeah,
so
I would
not gonna
get
use
that,
that one to
right?
make my
Because
decision.
JOK's only had like 66 snaps, so it ain't like okay. I don't think that's a legitimate amount of snaps
He
to
was
be
good
number
against the
1 in
Bears,
the NFL.
all over the
Yeah.
field.
He is excellent. Yes,
Yeah.
he should
Okay.
play more. Joe Woods, put him in the game because your defense is much better when you have a dude who can do literally anything out there. But I digress.
Hot take from Michael Stone. If Demetric Felton were on any other team in the AFC North, he'd be RB1 by a mile.
If Demetric Felton were on a lesser talented team like the Bengals, y'all be talking about him as the best rookie running back in the draft right now. He's been excellent, man. He needs to be doing more than just punt returns. He's really good in the slot. He gets open all the time.
He's great.
Yeah, and he can run the ball. We ain't never gonna need him to run the ball because we're just stacked with runners right there. Hopefully, we don't ever need him to run the ball. But yeah, he is gonna be a pretty good piece here for the Browns here going in the future. It's interesting though, because they already locked up the running back. So, I don't know he might become a piece they leverage. I don't know, because Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb is not like he's a replacement for one of those going forward.
Mark says, how do you guys feel about Josh Gordon going to the Chiefs after being reinstated for the 100th time? I mean, he hasn't been playing for a while. I don't know. I mean, I think for now, in my opinion, it's inconsequential. Remember when Le'Veon Bell went there, people were freaking out?
Yeah.
Right? I think it's people remember this big name that hasn't played for X amount of time, and whoever the player is goes to the team, and then people freak out. Oh my God, just calm down. Everything will be fine.
People were like, oh my God, the Steelers have Melvin Gordon. I'm like, they have a version of Melvin Gordon, not
Melvin Ingram. You're not
Melvin Ingram.
Broncos.
Melvin Ingram's going out. Is he still in the league?
Melvin Gordon's on the Broncos.
Yeah.
He's starting running back on the Broncos. Yeah, he splits time with Williams.
I forgot. He had that weird contract situation with the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Where I was like, I never thought he was good. And then he went to the Broncos. Was he good in Denver? Is he good right now?
No.
Or is he
He was actually good. I mean, like not great.
Last year was okay.
I think he was a top 5 rusher last year.
No.
By the way, who
Maybe
won
top
out
10?
between that battle?
He had
of him?
way more yards than you think. I think he might have even had 1,000.
Well, who wins out in this battle between the 2 running backs that came out that year? This is an off-topic question, like crazy, but Melvin Gordon or what's his name? Todd Gurley, right? Because Todd Gurley had the hotter year, right? It's like Outcast. He had the hotter year.
Todd Gurley got paid a lot.
But he ain't put out nothing after that hot year. At least Melvin Gordon, he put out some solid stuff. You know what I mean? Which one do you go with after that? Which one was the bigger mistake?
Todd Gurley got worse faster.
Yeah.
You give Melvin Gordon like the Frank Gore Award for just like, hey, he's still around.
Still here.
But he got worse faster. But isn't that better than just being okay? You know what I mean? For a first round running back, like Melvin Gordon was always
at his peak was more than just okay.
Yeah, he was okay.
He was
last year, by the way. Last year, Melvin Gordon 200 carries, 986 yards, 10th most in the national.
Not even 1,000.
10th most in carries or yards?
10th most in yards. Yeah. In yards last year.
What's that per carry? 4.6. Okay, 4.6. That's not good. That's not good.
He was good.
Well, that's
not great. I said he's not great. He's good. He was good.
Yeah. He's first round running back.
Yeah, he was
like 10 years ago.
10th pick.
Man, that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2015? Yeah, so 6 years ago. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the problem. That's the shelf life for running backs right now.
Yeah. By the way, guys, this again, super chats are available. This is how you do it. You see how derail was the show? We went and talked Melvin Gordon. We went and talked. This is how you derail the show. Super chats are available.
Is Todd Gurley on a team right now?
No,
let me look.
Not even.
Damn, that boy a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Before I go with the next one, which is going to be the Browns, there was a poll here, and the question is: are Steelers winning this week?
Did we get 15% of it? How was the percent? 85-15? If
it's more than 15, 87-13.
Steelers fans, we can get that to 85-15 and win this football game, just so you know. Call your friends. 85-15, the Steelers win this game.
From one trouble QB to another, Squealers trade from Watson or sign him next year. Well, I don't think they can sign him, but they definitely could trade for him. Because Texas ain't cutting Watson. They will let him eat that contract.
They might cut him after this year. Because I think that they can June 1st him. I got it, Sonny. I think they can June 1st him, and then like the money gets spread out.
No, they can get 1 first easy for him. Easy for him.
Well, it depends on what happens with his. He's got all these legal troubles. I don't understand why we keep hearing like, the market is heating up for Deshaun Watson. And if Deshaun Watson ever got traded to a team that was actually going to play him, doesn't he just immediately end up on the commissioner's exempt list? Like that's the new thing, right? Anyone who's in any sort of legal trouble gets immediately put on that list if they're going to play. The only thing that's keeping him off that list right now is that the Texans keep him inactive every week.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with Ace, and he's talking about Browns now.
The next one, which will be the Browns and the Vikings, and I think
Vikings
that
win.
This is going to be one of the most competitive games of the week. However, when you look at Minnesota, the fact that it's in Minnesota, I'm kind of worried about it, and the fact that Minnesota is coming in as a 1-2 team. They're really not a 1-2 team when you really think about it in the grand scheme of things. They had a close game with my Bengals week 1. They probably feel like they probably should have at least won that game if Dalvin Cook doesn't fumble. The next week, they have a heartbreaker where they miss a field goal. The third week, they get a huge win over the Seahawks. So by no means are the Vikings a bad team. And I think that this game will come down to, is that Browns defense legit? We saw them definitely take some strides last week against Justin Fields, but at the end of the day, it is Justin Fields, and they were able to take advantage of the offensive line. This is a big, I think, thing for Joe Woods here to prove that his defense is on par, and that last week wasn't just, something that just happened by chance, right? And he needs to make that, I think, something that's consistent. Now, I'm not saying that he needs to make 9 sacks consistent. I'm not saying that. But the way that this Browns defense was playing last week with Newsome, with Ward, with Miles doing his thing, I think that they have to see if they can build on that this week. But this is an offense, I think, for the Vikings that is very consistent. You start with Kirk Cousins. I think he's an underrated quarterback. He's better than people really give him credit for. I think him and Baker, to be honest with you, are pretty even when it comes to that. I think that they kind of cancel each other out. And then you look at the receivers that they have, Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. How do they match up against Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome? That's going to be another key, I think, to this game. And then you also look at Dalvin Cook. How can he be a factor in this game? The Browns have done pretty well against the run here to start the season, but you've got to be able to stop Dalvin Cook because he's a guy that can make something out of nothing, and all he needs is one crease or one play to take it to the house. And then when you talk about the flip side, the Browns giving up 5 sacks last season, I think that they will improve and tweak that this week. But this is a Vikings defense that is led by Mike Zimmer that still has some solid players on that side of the ball as well. So will they be able to do it? I know against the Bengals, we gave up 5 sacks. Obviously, the Browns have a way better line than the Bengals, but they do have some guys, and Danielle Hunter and some of those guys over there that can get pressure on your quarterback. But honestly, at the end of the day, this really comes down to, I think the Vikings are going to want this game more than the Browns. And why do I say that? They started out the season 0-2, and we all know what they say about 0-2 teams. They were able to get a huge win last week against the Seahawks, and I don't think that they're really a 1-2 team. And I think that this is a game at home that they cannot afford to drop this season, especially after dropping those games early. And you look across and you see a team like the Packers taking on the Steelers this week. They probably are feeling like the Packers are going to win that game against Pittsburgh. So I think because of those factors that I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one. I think that they'll want it more. And even when you look at the ELO forecast as well for this game, they are also favored to win this game, believe it or not. So that's who I'm rocking with as well. And then when it comes to the Bengals.
You're on mute, by the way, Sonny, but I'm changing all my picks. I have the Steelers to win. I have the Ravens to win.
0-3.
No. I see. I thought this was what Ace was doing. He absolutely is doing that. And so I am changing my picks around. Ace wants to live in a world where the entire division is 2-2 or 1-3, and the Bengals are 3-1, and now I think it might
look,
go
this
the
is
other way.
This is an interesting game for Q specifically because a lot of people told Q that Dalvin Cook was better than Nick Chubb, and with that, I'm gonna let Q respond to that. And
don't you try to tee me up like that. Don't you try to get me to go off. He's not. I don't have a beef with Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook. All right, so I'm not gonna give him the Allen Robinson or the Cliff Kingsbury. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be disrespectful to Dalvin Cook. If you think Dalvin Cook's better than Nick Chubb, I think you're wrong, but you're entitled to that opinion. It's not a ridiculous opinion to have.
Dalvin Cook or Kareem Hunt?
See? Who? What? Dalvin Cook is better than who?
I was saying Dalvin Cook or Kareem Hunt is better than Nick Chubb.
I just see now. Let's not get crazy here. Let's not get crazy. We know Nick Chubb's the best running back on the Browns, no matter what. But you know what? No, shout out to Ace. I'm happy for Ace. He's at that game. I know he had bad luck the last game he went to for the Bengals. I know it was a rough experience for him. I hope they don't lose this game this week. But you know what? I do know that if a football flies into the stands or he needs to chase down somebody that's doing one of those concession things, Ace ain't going to pop nothing. He ain't going to pull nothing like he did when he did that 40 because he is limber today because of all that stretching he did on that tank. That was a stretch. All of that was stretching. What? Because the Vikings started 0-2? They got to win this one?
Not really, though.
They don't got to win this one. This is an out-of-conference game.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think a lot of the meat of what he said was true, right? The Vikings are a good offense. They're a better offense than the Browns have played since Kansas City, so 2 games ago, right? And they do have a veteran quarterback. And a lot of issues I was talking about with the Browns, look, even though, Justin Fields did beat the Bengals, I love how he left that part out when he wasn't really, he was like, it was the Bears last week that the Browns defense looked good. They did beat the Bengals last week and put like 20 points on them, who I thought was a good defense, right? We thought the Bengals had a good defense. So this isn't a completely inept offense here for the Bears, at least when Andy Dalton's in there. Shout out Matt Nagy. But when you look at this Vikings team, they have exactly the things that I'm worried about with the defense, right? A veteran quarterback who, if you give him, a unimpressive front or an uncomplicated front, he's definitely like Kirk Cousins gets a lot of flack. He's like perennially, 11 to 15th ranked quarterback in the NFL. That's always been what he's been for quite a while. And a lot of teams are willing to pay a lot of money for that. So, he's a good quarterback, and he's somebody who can decipher some of these things. Now, one of the things to note, Greg Newsome has been excellent. He's not going to play this week. He has a calf injury. It's going to be Greedy Williams starting at that other corner position. And Greedy Williams, hold on one second. My throat's dry as hell.
My dog, Greedy Williams. Love Greedy.
Yeah, Greedy Williams, who has his fan base. Greedy Williams is inconsistent as hell. He is inconsistent as hell, right? Greedy Williams will look like the number 1 pick of the draft one week, and then he'll look like Justin Gilbert the next week. Like, I don't know what to expect out of Greedy Williams. What I do know is that if it gets too bad, Troy Hill's going to be out there. But I think you're talking about Troy Hill on Adam Thielen or moving Troy Hill out the slot with MJ Stewart. You would hope that Greedy can hold his own here. We'll see. We'll see what's up with Greedy. Denzel's another question mark, man, because Denzel, he ain't been consistent this year, right? I felt like he had a great game versus the Chiefs. He had an awful game versus the Texans. He had a so-so game last week. I think Greg Newsome honestly played better than him last week. So there is that as well when it comes to the secondary. I have some questions. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. The Browns, I do think, will be able to move the ball quite well against this Vikings defense. And I think the Vikings are going to be able to move the ball well enough against this Browns defense. But I do think the Browns are going to win this one. I think if you're asking me who's going to win a coaching battle between Mike Zimmer and Kevin Stefanski, if it comes down to that, I have Kevin Stefanski. If it comes down to a kicker, I have what's his name, McLaughlin over Greg Joseph, both former Browns, by the way. And if this comes down to quarterbacks. I think Baker's better than Kirk Cousins. Like, I think there's an argument there that they're similar or whatever. I think Baker has a little bit more arm talent than Kirk Cousins does. So there's that. I think in every way possible, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, the Browns are better than the Vikings. That doesn't mean they can't lose this game. They have lost games against teams that they are better than. Kansas City Chiefs might be that. But,
well,
I mean, they were clearly the better team.
Especially on the road, right?
On the road.
Chiefs.
They were clearly the better team.
We'll see what the Chiefs are this year. They're interesting.
They can lose a game to they have proven that they can lose a game to a team that they're better than. Shout out Chiefs fans. But we'll see y'all again.
Okay,
but the question is, when it comes down to it, what's going to be the leaning part? And I think
you picking against your boys?
Browns, huh?
Are you picking against your boys?
No, he already said that.
I already said I'm picking the Browns. I'm saying the reason I think they're going to edge them out, and I think it's probably going to be like a 3 or 7 point victory, is just because you look at every level and where you're going to get the big play to win the game, right, in a close game. Defensively, who has the best player? Is it Harrison Smith or is it Myles Garrett? I'll take Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Offensively, who has the better players? They have, great players there. Adam Thielen's a great player. I think Justin Jefferson's going to be a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins is good. Dalvin Cook's good, but I would take Chubb and Hunt over Dalvin Cook. I would take Baker Mayfield over Kirk Cousins. I would take they might have to edge a wide receiver there, but if you have to edge a quarterback and you're good enough at wide receiver, because we don't have Jarvis healthy right now, I would just take the edge there. I think the Browns are a better team. They're very similar, and I think they're just going to make those extra plays to win this game this week.
Okay, we have 2 super chats here. Let me go through them. The Joker says, Tony, you see what your team does?
Oh, JOK's in the chat.
Heated Ace.
Shout out Jeremiah.
Head so much he thinks all AFC North team lose, and he will win. Watch him cry if they lose tonight. By the way, he hasn't picked. You don't know.
Okay, and also, I mean, listen, I can't take credit for this because the Bengals fans have been very, very confident going all the way back to the offseason. This has nothing to do with them beating the
most confidence.
Yeah.
No. It's starting to hit another level here, right?
Well, it's certainly
this is a home Thursday night football game. Like, I know we're going to talk about the Bengals. Spoiler alert. It's a home Thursday night football game against the Jaguars. You better win that. Like, they're going to win that game. So they're going to be like, 3-1 coming off of this? You know what I mean? So they're going to be hyped up, and they get the extra 10 days, right, to just bask in their glory. This is going to be like the bye week between like the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl for Bengals fans, because who they play after that? Do they have like a real game after that?
Packers,
I think they play. Oh, they play the Packers. Yeah, Packers.
Oh yeah. So they're gonna be able to enjoy these 10 days. Like, these are gonna be the most Bengal fight. They're gonna talk themselves into. We're gonna beat the Packers by 20, especially if the Steelers beat them. Oh yeah, I can see it happening right now. I see the future, y'all. Rewind to this after 2 weeks when I'm correct.
Bookmark it. Sean McKinney says, "Hey fellas, been fun watching the show. Huge supporter of the channel and of Q. This is a Browns fan here. Tony, how you feeling?
Feeling good. Positive vibes only tonight on the show. Positive vibes only. Feeling great. I feel great today. Thank you for asking.
Okay, Tony, take me your take about this game.
So another sport I love to watch is MMA. And in MMA is an interesting thing that happens, which is that, you have to beat the champ, right, in order to get the belt. But guys come up, they're very, very good, but they just can't get over the hump. They can't beat the champ. And then what happens to them in their career? They become basically gatekeepers at that point, right? They're the guy that you got to beat to get the champ.
Yeah.
This has happened a lot in the sport. That is Kirk Cousins. That is who Kirk Cousins is right now. He is just good enough as a quarterback that we'll all get on here and we'll go, oh, Kirk Cousins, he's pretty. I mean, listen, he's a good guy.
Will you take him in the Steelers right now?
Exactly. Then you go, but would you want Kirk Cousins on your team? Oh, no. Kirk Cousins, no, I wouldn't. No, but he's good. He's got like him. I mean, listen, his cap number's out of whack, and I don't think he can, playoff game. No, I would, but I really like him. No, I think he's really underrated. That's who Kirk Cousins is, and that's to me what makes this game so interesting for this Browns defense, because he's exactly, we talk about barometer games, right? I want to know what we got. Browns fans right now, the big question they have with this football team is, what do we got defensively? Because for the first couple weeks, problems, right? We heard Quincy going a long soliloquy about Joe Woods and on the base defense the base zone defense that they were playing. it seemed like, hey, you know what? Maybe they righted the ship. I mean, yes, Matt Nagy, terrible game plan. Justin Fields not good, but doing what they did to the Bears, doing that to an NFL team, that you still have to be rewarded for that. So now we see, okay, well, which side is it, right? Is it closer to what we saw against Mahomes and the Texans, or is it closer to what we saw against Chicago? And I think this is a really intriguing matchup for Chicago for all the reasons you guys talked about. Look, Kirk Cousins isn't going to go out there and blow the doors off anybody, but he's super efficient. When you want to know who has the best touchdown interception ratio in the NFL right now, it's Kirk Cousins. He's thrown 9 touchdowns, not a 1 interception. He's in QBR. We talk about Teddy Bridgewater's pretty good. Guess who's right behind him? Our boy Kirk Cousins. He's right there. And they got a good wide receiver core. They got a good balanced offense. Everyone's talking about their offensive coordinator there. What's his name? Clint Kubiak, who's doing a great job of scheming things up for him. There, I think I love this is a game. I think it's a 1:00 game, right? Steelers don't play till 4. This is TV1 for me. I mean, this is a marquee matchup. I love this matchup for the Cleveland Browns. And we haven't even talked about, by the way, isn't this kind of a revenge game? Isn't this kind of a little bit of a revenge game? Stefanski's the one that kind of put Kirk Cousins on the map. Kirk Cousins was a fine quarterback in Washington, got to Minnesota, and Stefanski turned Kirk Cousins into a playoff caliber quarterback. They went to the playoffs that year.
He went to the playoffs in Washington.
In Washington, yeah. But he actually looked good. And I mean, we started talking about Kirk Cousins this way when he got to Minnesota, not when he was back in Washington. So this is a semi-revenge game, master and mentor type thing when it comes to Stefanski and Cousins, when it comes to Mike Zimmer and Stefanski. I like this matchup in a lot of ways. The line on this game, I believe, is Browns by 2. It is a massive, massive stay away from me. The biggest question marks I have in this football game are about that Brown secondary, especially going up with as loaded a wide receiving group as Minnesota has and what Kirk Cousins can do in that dome. I think I think this is a stay away from me. I'll take because of the way Ace is going. I have to take the Browns this one because again, I think Steelers, Ravens, Browns win, and I think tonight may be the upset. Again, Ace hasn't picked the Bengals game, but I see where your Tony's going. Joshua here says, Tony,
ain't no way he going to the game and expecting them to lose. Like, who would do that?
I agree.
Who would put all that effort in just to see? Like, he not going to go over there when they playing like. When they play the
Packers,
he's not making that trip.
He could have gone. Listen, it's the end of September, right? This isn't a holiday. He could have picked this week. He could have picked the Packers week. He chose the Jaguars.
He chose with the Jacksonville Jaguars because he's close to that booty. He know that booty snake.
Tony, were you actually sad on Tuesday, or do you just look sad without a hat on?
I was. I think I was. It was a mixture of sadness, anger. We got through it together. That's what I love about this show. We all got through it together.
By the way, we have almost 600 people. Make sure you hit that like real quick if you're enjoying the show. Also, there's a poll here about the Browns game. Right now, 78-22. I will say this. This is a game. It's a tough one. But in my opinion, this is the game is on the defensive side, what defense make the play? I think there's 2 really good offense, 2 balanced offense. We talk about Q said it well. They're mimic of each other. I mean, Stefanski was basically put the system there before he came to Cleveland. Then established a system in Cleveland, and it's a really good system for Baker, for Chubb. It's great. The edge goes on the wide receivers for the Vikings, but the edge goes also for the Cleveland Browns on the tight end side, right? And on the running back side, Dalvin Cook is hurt right now, right? He might play, but he's still playing hurt. As far as I know, both running backs for the Browns are healthy. And if one goes down, and I'm not saying the one should go down, they still have the other one. I think this is a game that you have to expect the D-line, specifically the edges for the Browns to come and eat. And if they can do that, they can provide that pressure, then that secondary will have a little bit more of a chance against a good receiver. I'm not saying the Vikings don't put points, but I am saying that basically the defense that flinch, that's the team that will lose. And I think the Browns defense is just going to has the notch over the Vikings defense. I'm expecting this game again to be tight. But I'm rolling with the Browns by a touchdown. Okay, so we have a super chat here real quick. Us Bengals fans have to enjoy this time because I don't know if we're winning a game the second half of the season. Take a look at the schedule after October. Okay, I don't remember the schedule.
Well, hold on, we're gonna read that thing out
That is
loud
the
on
most
screen.
humble Bengals fan I've heard in 9
In
months.
a while.
9 months. It's been about 9 months since I've seen that level of humble from me.
Okay.
Yeah, because they got the Packers, the Lions. Okay, so let's play this out. I'm gonna be peak optimistic Bengal fan, right? They got the Jaguars. They got to win that game, right?
Gotta win.
It would be a
Must
travesty if you lose that game and then you lose it at home on a Thursday night. Like, that's the biggest advantage in sports. So you're going to be 3-1. They're not beating the Packers. Let's be real, 3-2. They're going to beat the Lions, maybe. I don't know. They could lose that game. I would say 3-3 right there. Ravens, they ain't beating the Ravens. Was that 3-4 now? Okay, so they're under 500.
Cute. They're 3-1, and you're saying they're losing to the Lions?
Yeah, they're losing to the Lions. They're definitely
okay. So 3-2.
Yeah, so they lost 3 straight. Yeah, so they went from 3-1 to 3-4.
So they're now at 3-3
Yeah.
because they're playing the Ravens, right? So that's 3
Yeah.
games later, 3-3. All right,
3-4.
so then
3-4 after the Ravens, right?
Yeah,
because
because
they already lost the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
so
they already lost to the
3-4.
Bears.
Then they're going back to 4-4. They're going to beat the Jets.
I don't
They
know.
play the
See,
Browns.
3-4 Bengals is when the wheels come off and they go to New York and lose that football game.
No, they
that's like
Nah.
classic Cincinnati.
Nah,
Oh, yeah,
Bengals-
the
Nah,
Bengals would never. The Bengals would
Wilson-
never at 3-4 go to New
Tony.
York and lose a game they shouldn't. Yeah, that's just unlike the Bengals. Yeah,
It's on Halloween. We know Zach Wilson like to trick or treat. You know what I mean? Zach Wilson ain't going to let that thing happen, right? They're going to get back to 4-4. They play the Browns, back under 500. They play the Raiders, 2 games under 500. They play the Steelers. I don't think they sleep with the Steelers, man. That's 3 games under 500. All right, they play the Chargers, 4 games under 500. 49ers, hell no, 5 games under 500. The Broncos, they'll get that. They'll get that.
Wait,
They'll
there
get
was a
that.
team that did
4
this
games.
last year. Who was
4
the team that was
games under
5-0 last
500.
year and finished the year like 6-10?
That happens all the time, man.
Yeah, no, but that last year there was a team.
I know the Bengals did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, they did do it 2 years ago.
Mhm,
There was a team like that
Yeah,
last
it
year. I'm
was-
pretty sure.
Well,
Was it
the
the
undefeated
Raiders?
teams last year were the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the 49ers, I think. No,
Someone
that
in
was 2
chat
years
will
ago.
tell us.
that was 2 years
Yeah.
ago. That was the
I
3
want to say it was the
undefeated
Raiders
teams.
last year that started hot and then fell off, but I can't
I
remember.
don't know. Happens every year.
Anyway,
It happened
yeah.
to the Bengals before. Yeah, so they'll be under 500 at the end of the season. Yeah, they'll be under 500.
Okay, Sean McGinney here says, Q, still have faith in Joe Woods? Seems he's the king of match cover 3. I say we put Delpit in a Jamal Adams-like position. He's huddled thus far. Handled. He's handled thus
I
far.
forget what
So
the
wait,
cover-
but isn't Delpit's more of a free though, isn't he? I mean, isn't the whole thing with Delpit that he's got the sideline to sideline? He's good in
He
coverage.
had
I mean, that's
one
what he
game
was at
of good
LSU.
tackling.
Well, I mean, he can do
Never.
everything because he's been pretty good in the box. They play him more at strong, to be honest with you. But yeah,
I mean,
they play him strong free. Look, they do a rotation with the 3 guys. So sometimes you'll see Ronnie out there at linebacker or John at linebacker, and then they'll put Grant free there. I don't get the cover. Like, was he trying to slander cover 3? I didn't.
Yeah.
comprehend what he was trying
I
to say
believe
there.
that was at least a backhanded diss of
Yeah.
cover 3. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't get the cover 3 slander. Some of the best defenses in modern NFL history have been cover 3, so it's not cover 3.
That was all Seattle. That was all they did.
But you got it. I mean, but you got to have a really good
personnel.
personnel.
I got you.
Yeah. You got to invest in 2 good corners, but by God, they've invested in corners, right? Like Greedy Williams,
Can't say healthy.
Grant Delpit, and Denzel Ward. You know, I mean, you've made the investment, so it's got to pay out at some time, right? The next question's from
It was the Bears
Mr.
last year, by the way. Bears were 5-1 last year. They beat Tom Brady on, I believe that was Monday Night Football. That was the team I was thinking of, and then they fell off.
Who was their quarterback? Was that? Oh yeah, that was.
They
that
were
was
going
Big
back and
Schlong.
forth between
And Mitch.
Foles and Trubisky. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Matt Nagy, man, put some respect on his name. He's out here
Put
making
some
it
respect on those
happen
quarterbacks.
with mediocres. You know what I mean? Because we know
They're
what
not.
Nick Foles is. We know what Nick Foles is. Like,
Super
he
Bowl
ain't
winner,
no
Super Bowl
question it.
champion.
Yeah, but we
Super
know
Bowl
that's
champion.
mediocre. You know what I mean? We know that's mediocre. We know
Yeah.
that's mediocre. What did he
Philly.
do the one year he went to the Rams with the one guy? I forget his name. Oh, he was Jeff Fisher. Yeah, he was
Mr. 8-8.
Hey,
Jeff
you know,
Fisher,
He
Mr.
could go
8-8.
8-8 with Jeff. He could go 8-8.
We're
with
not
Mr.
going
8-8.
9-7 or 10-6. Yeah,
We're
you're going
going
8-8,
8-8.
dog. You're going
We're
8-8.
going 8-8, baby.
Mr.
nice.
Whisper here with another.
We had Aaron Donald for like 2 years too, right? Like it was inexcusable how they were going 8-8. No wonder they moved the team. Mr. Whisper with the super chat. Hey, big fan of you guys. Even Quincy, why do people just like add me at the end of this? Y'all hate me for real? Y'all just hate me? All right, yeah, even Bengals Quincy, who is that?
Bengals fans and you have.
He's a Bengals fan. Oh, do you? Oh, yeah, you're glad for me to read this. Do you all think the Bengals' number 6 defense is legit, or has it yet to be truly tested? I know deep down in your soul, Mr. Whisper, you know the answer to that. You know the answer to that. Is Cheeto Uzier and Trey Waynes holding it down for the 6th best defense in football? Do you really think the answer to that question is yes? You know the answer to that in your heart. I'm not even going to have to say it. You know what it is, because if you knew it was the 6th best defense, you wouldn't be asking if it was legit, because you know it ain't legit. Shout out Bengals fans.
Hey,
man.
Come on. They shut down the Bears offense, okay? And
they didn't shut down the Steelers offense too. Andy Dalton was running all up and down. They got 20 points. This Bears offense, they got a net passing yard.
All the interceptions. They got
they gave up 13 points to an offense against the Browns, whose defense is not that good yet, that had 1 net passing yard. Bobby, yummy. They're the 6th best defense right now.
Did they pass the question? I talked about this, right? The Kirk Cousins, he's the barometer, right? He's the gatekeeper. They gave up 28 in that game, but they did win it. So,
it went to overtime.
Where does that? Did they pass that test or did they fail that test? It's hard.
They got a C. They got a C plus. They got a C plus.
That's right.
They passed.
C's get degrees. That's right. C's get degrees of defenses.
They're 6 right now. They're not a bad defense. They're 6 right now. But at the end of the year, we're gonna be like, they're about
6 in what, by the way? I haven't seen them. What is it? Are we doing total yards?
Probably yards. Probably yards.
Oh, it's total yards.
2021. Are we still doing total yards, people?
Yeah,
we know Bengal fans love. We know Bengal fans love cumulative stats. That's what they love.
They're 4th in DVOA. Their defense is 4th in DVOA.
There you go.
Hey, 5 defense. Reach higher, dog. Like, you know what I mean? While you up here, you might as well reach as high as you can. But you gonna tell me from the bottom of your heart, do you think that's the 6th best defense in the NFL? Because that answer matters more than whatever anybody else up here gonna say. Let me know what you think. I want to know what
they're number 2 in special teams DVOA because they got their kid McPherson.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Are the Bengals a top 10 team? They're a top 10 team right now, according to Pro Football Focus. You know what I mean? You grab a number of stats.
Where's
Pro Football Focus based out? What city is Pro Football Focus based out of? I forget.
Over there.
I don't know. They do it. They just add up all their grades.
No, but where does Pro Football Focus have their headquarters? Anybody know?
Oh yeah,
Chris Cincinnati. That's right. I forgot. Okay, anyway, what does the super chat say?
The Browns are number 2. I believe those rankings.
Yeah, of course you would.
The Steelers pack was
if it confirms my priors, then the ranking is fantastic.
Yeah. If it confirms what I already believe, this is like the Always Sunny thing. Well, if it confirms what I've already said, then there's no reason to do deeper research on it, right, guys?
Yeah, exactly. Like last year, we were all about QBR. This year, QBR says Teddy Bridgewater is good, Kirk Cousins is good, and literally every quarterback in the AFC North is bad. QBR is a bad
Baker Mayfield 16.
That's a 2020
stat, you know what I mean? Look, I only look for information that confirms what I'm already thinking. So I don't think there's a problem with that, right?
This is the great thing about the way the modern analysis works. If there's so many stats out there that you can pick from, just find the one that confirms what you already believe.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean.
Tony, read the super chat and then I'm gonna throw it to Ace.
I refuse. No.
The Steelers pack was lace and came with C's. Okay, let me put Ace for his final take.
That's just gross.
This is a game for us where we have to show that last week wasn't a fluke. I think that we've got not necessarily the easiest team of the draw, but I really feel like it is the easiest team of the draw. This is not a game that we can afford to drop. So I think that we will come out here, try to let loose against this defense. We are missing Jesse Bates. We are missing T. Higgins. That is 2 major losses, but you still should be able to come out here, try to force Trevor Lawrence into some situations where he will turn the ball over, try to outcoach Urban Meyer and this Jaguars team. I think the X factor is a lot of people forget that Urban Meyer did not want to have Joe Burrow as a starter, right? So I think Joe Burrow is going to come out in this game with a chip on his shoulder. I think that it will be closer than people think. I think that it'll be an exciting game. I think that it will have some high scoring potentially in it. at least from the Bengals side of things. I think that the Bengals could go for 30 potentially in this game. We'll have to see what the Jaguars do, but obviously you have to stop James Robinson and shut them down. It's funny. We were actually speaking to Kyle Caskey yesterday. He is now a coach of the Jaguars. And I think that that's going to be one of the keys is wrecking his game plan in terms of trying to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence and forcing them into some bad situations. And with James Robinson trying to stop him, with Marvin Jones trying to stop him, Laviska Shenault, they do have some weapons over there in Jacksonville. So the Bengals are going to have to try to do that, especially without J.C. Bates. It's going to be a tall order. But I think that the Bengals roll in this one. I think they head to 3-1. And I think that that is how the AFC North pans out this week. So, guys, I appreciate it. You guys hold it down. I'm going to be at the game tonight. And as usual, I got to leave you guys with a who dey.
Who dey? Yeah.
So there it is.
Who dey Nation.
There it is.
Before I do it, say anything, we did the Browns poll, and they 75-25 Browns, and there's the poll now for the Bengals. By the way, I was corrected. I have to say I was corrected in chat. I incorrectly said that Kirk Cousins scored 28 points. They only scored 24. So there you go.
Yeah, the Bengals defense is definitely top 5.
Top 5, I'll be like, hey, I can't find a single one of y'all that's willing to say it with y'all chest, but yeah, it's there. You know what I mean? Say it with y'all chest. Do you believe it or not, Bengal fans? Are y'all elite? Let me know.
But before I throw it to you, Q, I'm just surprised how Ace was trying to hype up the Jaguars. I don't think the Jaguars will hype the Jaguars.
The most interesting thing about what he said is that he thinks it's going to be a closer game than people think, but the Bengals can get 30, which means that he's got to think the Jags can get in the 20s in this game. Jags haven't scored. I don't believe. Is it nothing close to the 20s, right? I mean,
Sean McGiddy here says not a slight at cover 3
20 against Houston in week 1.
Delpe has shown he can do more. Even though Wood is using them in situational positions, JOK included.
I think a lot of assuming's going on with what Joe Woods is doing or not doing with these players. I think everybody's just jumping to the least creative possible solution. Now, Greg Delpit's in the slot. He's doing a lot, for a guy who doesn't get that many snaps. He's kind of in there in the rotation with the linebackers. I think he does enough right now. I mean, he's been okay out there. He covered well against Allen Robinson against the slot, but Allen Robinson's a measuring stick. It's kind of like what Tony said with Kirk Cousins, right? That's the guy that ends up being the dude that you have to beat to actually get there. You know what I mean? So he did well against that dude. That's kind of what Allen Robinson is. But we'll see. We'll see against really good wide receivers this week. We'll see against a really good wide receiving core this week. I think both of those guys are probably better than Allen Robinson. But we'll see. It's a real test for him. But I think
they are both better than Allen Robinson. Yeah, I don't even think
that's not a hot take. That's not a hot take. This is true. Yeah, with Justin Jefferson, I would take him a mile before I would. If Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen were free agents this year, the same year that Allen Robinson was, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because the only reason we having this conversation is because Raven fans are telling me that he's going to change the game if he signs with the Ravens because he's elite.
He would have been very good in the Ravens.
He'd be very similar to what Sammy Watkins is giving you. Good production, nice, better than what you had, but not great.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
I don't want to derail, but has Sammy Watkins actually been that much better than Willie Snead? Like, real talk.
I will say this. He's been a little better.
He's better down the field. Again, he's another vertical threat where Willie Snead wasn't a vertical
threat.
I
think they're probably similar players, but I think what Willie Snead offers is I don't know. It's debatable which one's more helpful, but I think what Sammy Watkins gives you is just down the field, and at times that could be a little bit more useful for Baltimore.
Yeah, okay.
So Q, Jaguars, Bengals.
Man, the Bengals don't win this one. No. I'm going to put it down for the Bengal fans because y'all want to be arrogant, talk like y'all this good. Okay, if y'all don't win this game, like you better win this game. There's no reason you should lose this game. I'll put the gauntlet down. Top 5 defense against the Jaguars, who can't not finish a drive. You better win this game on that merit alone. Y'all got a top 5 offense. Name me 3 players on the Jaguars defense other than Miles Jack. Okay. Yeah, okay. Cool. Dope. They ain't got none.
TJ Henderson just got traded. How about
got
that?
traded.
He just got
I
traded.
literally
I know
watched
that.
Case Keenum. I literally watched Case Keenum tear up their first team unit in preseason. This is a bad football team.
I watched
coming
the Steelers tear up the Lions in preseason. That don't matter. Let me tell you.
This is a bad football team coming into the jungle on a Thursday night. You have an advantage because it's the Jaguars. You have an advantage because it's Thursday night football at home. And of course, you're at home and Ace Boogie in the building, y'all. Ace Boogie is in the building from Florida. He in the building. Y'all better win this game. There's no reason you should lose this game. If you lose this game, I don't ever want to hear about y'all seriously again. I am taking the Bengals seriously this year. This is the consequence of me taking you serious. If you play a layup on Thursday night, and this is anything more than a convincing win. I'm not saying it's got to be by like multiple scores or anything like that, but I should think while watching this game, yeah, the Bengals are definitely a much better team than the Jaguars. That's it, right? Yeah. I think that's fair if we're going to take the Bengals seriously. So they better win this game. There's no excuse. If you lose this game, don't come next week, man. Just don't come next week. Just save yourself. Just miss Tuesday's show because you don't want to hear all the truth I'm going to tell you about your team. But right now, let's live in Bengals world. Top 5 defense, top 5 offense, best special teams in football. You better beat the stuffing out of one of the worst teams in football at home on Thursday night. And I think that they actually will. Bengals fantasy is going to go on one more week, baby. It's going to go on one more week. Who Day Nation is before they turn into Weird Day. But they're going to be good for this week. So they're going to win this game. They better win this game. And if you do anything other than win this game, y'all better come and apologize to me. Y'all really should, because that would be an embarrassment. Don't embarrass yourself like the Steelers did in front of 50 million people on Nielsen on NBC.
You only get, you know what? No, hold on, Sonny. We got to limit him to one of those references per show. All right, listen, you can get it one a day. One a day. You're going to OD on this by the end of the season. This is going to be your only team.
You will have it until you guys play each other.
Oh, you got so long.
I'm aware. Listen, Halloween Day is going to be very. It's going to be.
You got to let the Browns win that game, Tony. Don't let it happen, because then you got to live with it forever.
It's fine. I can't control it, but I'll just say this: if it goes the other way,
then you gonna have some positive vibes to riff on. You gonna have your props out. I am willing to take whatever I have to take, but for right now. I
would say this, fun. For this game specifically, we talk about the schedules for all teams, right? The Ravens are gonna be going to their third road game, and in the first quarter of the season. But this was set up really good for the Bengals. Home game on a Thursday night, we know goes to the home team, but not only that, against a bad team. And if a Bengals fan, they think they're a playoff team, I'm not going to lie. I think they could be potentially competing for a playoff. The Packers, this is when you want to see the Packers, right?
Time out. The playoffs? Playoffs?
We're talking playoffs for the Bengals now? Are you?
This team that's been in fourth place 3 years in a row. Is this Ace in a sunny suit?
Yeah. What happened here? This is some weird,
Look, all I'm saying here is, if they think they're a playoff team, right? If they think they're a playoff team, this schedule is set up really well, because a Packers team that is not playing their best football, right? We can acknowledge that. And then Bengals get a Thursday night at home against a very, very bad team that they should beat, Bengals fan. If you don't beat, I agree here, Q. Yeah, you might not want to come here on Tuesday, but let's say they beat them. I think they're going to probably win by 10. And then you get the Packers seeing a better team, but struggling, not playing their best football, and you get them in this mini bye scenario. You're setting up well that schedule for you guys to potentially even beat the Packers. But let's not go ahead of ourselves too far. You have to win this game. If you don't win this game, you know there's traps game, but you're the Bengals. You finish fourth. You don't have time to relax, right? If you think you're that team, those teams shellac bad teams at home on a Thursday night game, right? That if you're that team,
Even bad teams win at home on Thursday night. Like this is a game that you should win.
It's set up for them. But what I'm saying is, if you're that team that you think you're a playoff team, you take the Jaguars and you show them who they are, right? You're at home on a Thursday night. You need to beat the rookie quarterback, Trevor Lawrence right now. He ain't looking great, right? So if you have that defense, as you're saying, you make sure Trevor Lawrence looks like a rookie. And on offense,
I don't want to hear about there being no Jesse Bates, no Cheeto, none of these guys. I don't want to hear any of these excuses. Your backups are like you should be. You should be, if like, and again, Bengal fans, you have begged us to take you seriously. You beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. You are now being taken seriously. If you want to be taken seriously, if the Browns lost on a Thursday night to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't care if Case Keenum's playing. That's embarrassing. I don't care who's out there. Like, it could be Case Keenum and Dearness Johnson and Harrison Bryant. That's the only 3 football players you have. You should still win that game if we're taking this team seriously. Teams that don't win national TV, you don't lose national TV games against the Jacksonville Jaguars when they're this pathetic if you're a team that we're taking seriously. That's the only reason I'm being this tough on the Bengals, because y'all want me to take them seriously. I'm taking them serious. So y'all seriously better not lose.
But think about this. On the flip side, what is the Jaguars putting out there on defense against this power offense? Again, Bengals fans tell me, like, best receiving core. I know Higgins is not playing, but still,
lighting them up.
Yeah, this offense should be playing really good. The offensive line, look, D-line for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know they have the kid Josh Allen, right? That's another player for UQ. He's good, but
Josh Allen.
Yeah,
the other one. Yeah, the other Josh Allen. Not
but
good one.
Other than him, who they have, right? They really don't have anything there. So this O-line,
Chason or whatever, the guy they got last year.
Who?
Chason Chason.
Yeah, Chason.
Oh, that guy sucks. He's Barkevius Ringo 3.0. Yeah, the dude out of LSU.
Great.
Yeah.
Caleb she's on. Yeah, he's awful. Yeah, we know.
So all I'm saying is, this is a game, Bengals fan, that is for you guys just to take over. So, but anyway, Tony, what do you think about this game?
All right, a couple things about this game that I think do make this game interesting. First of all, Jesse Bates is not going to play in this football game. Look, we've given Bengals fans a lot of flack about all the things they say about Jesse Bates, but Jesse Bates is going to matter in this football game. Right? I know Bengals fans simultaneously want us to believe that Jesse Bates is the best safety in the National Football League, and that also him being out of this football game shouldn't matter. I think it might matter, especially with Awuzie being out as well. Trevor Lawrence right now, by Pro Football Focus's charting, is he throws the most big time throws in the league. Not good at them, but he is at least attempting them. It's one of the things you have to like. Trevor Lawrence is not good right now, right? He's very not good, but at least, there's a thing where you get these young quarterbacks who all they want to do is check down. They're just wide eyed. They have no idea what they're looking at. They're not trying to put anything in there. At least with Lawrence, he is attempting to get the ball down the football field, attempting to make big throws. Isn't always working out for him. But against a Bengals secondary, without a Jesse Bates back there, without an Awuzie back there, and with a Bengals wide receiver core that, this is not a top unit in the league. It's not even close. But they got some guys who can make things happen. DJ Chark has made big plays in the past when they've had quarterbacks that can actually get him the football. Marvin Jones, same thing. Laviska Shenault, I don't know, is he going to be healthy? But he's an interesting piece there as kind of a player who can play both running back and wide receiver. He can do a lot of things. James Robinson is running well this year, even if the Jaguars aren't really trying to run the football.
Nope.
I think offensively, the Jaguars might have a little bit more success in this game than people expect because, yes, those losses, Bengals fans, they are going to matter in this football game, especially against a team like the Jaguars who want to push the ball down the field. Losing your top free safety is going to matter in that game. But I think this game's going to come down to the other side. It's Joe Burrow in that offense. Here's an interesting statistic for you. You look at Football Outsiders in their DVOA. It's a little early in the year to start making, real value judgments because we just don't have enough data yet. We only have 3 games. But here's an interesting thing that happened. They put up their numbers this week and they adjusted it by opponent. They have Cincinnati's offense as worse than even the Steelers. We talk about, what Joe Burrow and this offense have been able to do this year. Yeah, I was kind of blown away by that as well. But, remember, the Bengals last week were the beneficiaries of a lot of turnovers. That's how they got their points last week. Was they intercepted Ben Roethlisberger twice. They scored on both those occasions, and they had a big play down the sideline. A one big play to Jamar Chase. Obviously, that's a big play, But when we're talking about on a down-by-down, play-by-play basis, how efficient are the Cincinnati Bengals on offense? They're not as efficient as they think. They are more explosive than they are efficient. Can they be explosive in this game? There's one guy to pay attention to when the Jaguars are on defense. Watch for number 32. This is a kid, Tyson Campbell, that I scouted a ton in the draft. He's a rookie out of Georgia. They just traded away C.J. Henderson. Tyson Campbell is a very good corner when it comes to covering. He just can't play the ball when it's in the air. And I mean, he is horrendously bad. He has already given up 2 touchdowns this year and on deep balls where he was in great position to make a play on the ball and could not. Without C.J. Henderson, he's likely going to be asked to cover Jamar Chase more in this football game. If Campbell can get his head around, if he can make some plays on the ball and can stop the big plays in this game, well, then this could be a little more of a dogfight than I think people are expecting. If Campbell plays poorly, though, and Jamar Chase gets going, because remember, no T. Higgins tonight either. Right? I mean, again, no Jesse Bates, no Wouzier, no T. Higgins. These are big players for the Bengals that are out. I'm not going to be shocked if this one is closer than people think. By the way, we talk about the line for this football game. It's Bengals by 7.5. The Bengals are a bigger favorite in this football game than the Packers are against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That means the Jaguars.
It is the Jaguars.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
They should.
It is the Jaguars. But when was the last time the Bengals were favored in a football game by 7.5 points? I like the Jaguars. I like the Jaguars to cover tonight. I like the Jaguars.
Ooh, Jaguars. Give you points. Tony's picking the Jaguars.
Who are you picking to win?
Give me the Jaguars. Give me the Jaguars. Let's go. Positive vibes only, boy. Let's do it. Jags, the upset of the season.
They gonna blame it on me. That's what they gonna do. They gonna blame it on me. RG3 used to say he blamed me is his name. They gonna blame it. They gonna blame Tony predicting that the Bengals are gonna lose this game on Quincy. Watch, Chet gonna find a way. They gonna do it on me. But
20% of the people agree with you, Tony. By the way,
there we go. Let's go, Jaguars. Big Jaguars fan tonight.
By the way,
well. Let's go, Trevor.
Wow.
Trevor gets by the way, there's another revenge game. Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. Revenge game from the 2019-2020. I can't remember what year it was. The championship game those two played. National championship game in college. Upset. That was a game where Joe Burrow blew him out. It would be an upset tonight, but can Trevor
Lawrence doesn't look like he wants to play football right now.
Trevor Lawrence,
by the way,
that's not true. Trevor Lawrence is out
there.
Listen,
Urban Meyer looks like he doesn't want to be out there. That's the dude who looks like he is about to quit every play. Yeah. And I might watch this game just to see Urban Meyer freak out on the sideline because that's pretty funny. But right now, the Jaguars, they got the worst, according to Pro Football Focus. Throw it up for what you mean. But we know this is a Bengals slanted website, according to Tony.
No, I didn't say. I just want to know where they were located. That's all.
Yeah, they're the 32nd graded offense right now. And the Bengals, again, I've heard top 6. I've heard top 10. We'll just go top 10, right? That's fair. Top 10. The Bengals top 10 defense going against what is graded as the worst offense in football. This should be a convincing victory for the Bengals if they are who y'all say they are.
I picked them in my Survivor.
Gonna win.
You got them in your Survivor?
I got them.
Man, I would not go with the Bengals. It's the best bet to go with the Bengals.
That's what I'm thinking.
You don't have a better bet to go with the Bengals, but I don't know.
Bills play the Texans this week. Bills play the Texans in Buffalo.
No. But Q is saying it's the best bet for the Bengals.
Yeah, because you got to pick the Bengals at some point, right? When you have you would understand, Tony. You're eliminated. Yeah. But, Well, no, because you got to go 2 teams at one point, right?
I guess you do.
So you're gonna have to go 32. So when are you gonna have a? Well, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll pick I can't pick the Bengals there when the Browns play them, but so I don't know when I'm gonna pick the Bengals. I might have to pick the Bengals soon here. I'll pick them against the Packers after they win this.
Oh, they play the Jets. Remember, they play the Jets.
Yeah, that's right. They play the Jets in New York, where you guys where it's impossible that they go to New York and lose that football game. So
I don't know. The Browns went to New York and lost last year when they were actually good, right?
The Browns were actually decent last year.
Yeah. There's no excuse for that, even though they didn't have any wide receivers. Still should have won that game like 3 times over. So we'll see what's happening with the Bengals, huh?
Hiccups happen.
That's what happened to the Steelers last week. It was a hiccup. It's fine. They're fine. They're going to beat the crap out of Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on Sunday. Back on track. Look out, because when this entire division is 2-2 on Sunday.
Could you imagine the flip of the division or the flip of the dynamic of the chat in the conversation. If the Bengals lose against the Jaguars and the Pittsburgh pulls it out against Green Bay. Oh, I know Ace loves Frontier Flights. So I hope they do him a solid and just cancel his flight so he has a reason not to be here on Tuesday. That would be what I would do.
Ace predicted Bengals in Seoul, no tiebreakers needed. Seoul
possession in first place, yeah.
And then the Steelers.
The entire AFC North losing, except. What's funny about his picks is I actually don't disagree, right? I mean, I think I predicted the Steelers to lose. I think they lose a close one. I do think Browns Vikings is a really intriguing game. I think the Vikings have every chance of winning that one. And I picked Denver to beat Baltimore. So I do think he's on to something there. But tonight's a little closer than he might be expecting.
I don't know, man.
There's no way. There's no way. There is no way they lose this game. Like they're not the football gods aren't going to give me this. They're not going to give me this. They would not give me this much ammunition. Okay, they're not going to give me this. They're winning this game.
They're going to be hype.
They're going to win this game.
Yeah, they're going to be nuts, of course.
No, they're going to blow them out. Like in all honesty, they really should blow them out today. They're a much better team. They're much better.
Some pieces though.
But hey, guys, remember, if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. Also follow us, AFC North Talk, because when we change times or any change in the schedule on Twitter, that's what we say first. But also, if you hit the bell, boom, you get notified every time we go live. Hey, guys, this should be an interesting week. 3 really good games. One, I think, is a lopside, but we'll see. Because Tony just...
the Ravens will keep it close. The Ravens will keep it close.
Tony just picked the Jaguars, but hey, thank you for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday. We'll see who's happy, we'll see who's sad.
Hey, positive vibes only. I'm only happy. I'm only ever happy on this show.
We'll be back on Tuesday. Take care, y'all.
Oh, he's on.
Have you ever? Are you listening? Damn.
And the ball is